Alright guys, that's Kremp again today. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Black Ops 6 is officially here. Technically the launch day is today, but as you well know, everyone was on a flight to New Zealand to figure that out for yesterday, to get into pubs and of course kickoff tournaments that went down in some part last night. Lots to get into today. Big reaction as well to the brand new Cloud9 roster that comes into effect, but Shotzzy certainly showing early on in this game why he might be one of the absolute players to stop on this new title. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. First of all, thought this is really cool that Toronto did a free event they did for the midnight launch. It was a thing back in the day, right? Everyone would be queuing outside a GameStop in the US or Game in the UK or whatever store of your choosing. Pick up the copy on the Friday morning, get back, take the day off work. You guys know how it was. And Toronto put on like a midnight release type party as well. I thought it was actually really cool to see some of the shots of this. They had a meet and greet with the team as well, so they managed to get their private jets, it seems, back from New Zealand just in time to meet up with the guys. I'll explain what that is kind of in a second here. You guys are probably aware, right? If you change your time zone on certain platforms to New Zealand, magically you can just play the game. So I don't really know why that's a thing or why that's still a thing, because sure, the first time it was a thing, fine, like maybe they weren't aware of the workarounds. Now it's just like a known thing that they don't seem to try and stop, and it kind of kills the hype. I don't know, I kind of liked it when it was like, oh, the game's about to drop and then the servers would kind of crash for a couple of hours because everyone was trying to get on the game and there was like a certain time it would go live. I think they do it deliberately just to kind of, you know, ease the player base in, because the servers do struggle when everyone tries to hop on the game at the same time. But anyway, this is what Toronto were up to. This is funny as well, that was spotted at the event. They're trying to flog off some of their scrap merchandise that they've not fully sold, and they've got it on sale. So yeah, if Toronto fans wanted to buy scrap merch for whatever reason, whatever they might want to do with it, then that was available at the thing they put on yesterday as well. Of course, yeah, the game already playable. Afro was out there already over to New Zealand. He dropped a nuke within, I mean, this was basically midday yesterday, so over 24 hours before this video is going live, Afro had already dropped a nuke on these servers. So obviously Afro's going to try and make the comeback this year to competitive play. Didn't go to plan last year on Thieves, but the reality is, even if it did go to plan for Afro, he wasn't going to be staying on that team through the end of the season anyway. Of course, JoeDeceives, who was excellent for them at the end of the year, was dropped because they formed the super team. But of course, Afro getting back into the league is going to be a challenge, and Cloud9 could have been a destination had he had a good end to the year. That's not how it went. But they confirmed officially yesterday their brand new roster, Cloud9, for the new season. Now, this team on paper, you guys know, I don't look at it and say, wow, that's like a star-studded lineup, certainly from an SMG perspective. But I will say, of the teams in the league, this roster will have some of the best vibes, some of the best chemistry going. And I think that accuracy as a coach is definitely part of that. We knew this was coming. Everything about this roster, apart from maybe the SMG lineup, in my opinion, makes just so much sense, right? Accuracy is the head coach of the team. It's cool as well how they effectively introduce Accuracy as like the captain, right? I mean, here he is in the center of the team, and well, obviously in all of their shots as well, he's also there. Most teams, it's their four guys and the coach is kind of behind the scenes, whereas quite clearly for Cloud9, Accuracy is intended to be an integral part of this lineup, right? So Sib, Kremp, Mack and Attach, that's your team of four. Mack back in business, of course, is a big deal as well. But then they introduce Accuracy as if he's a player, right? And I think this goes to show what type of culture they're trying to build over there, that Accuracy is going to be an integral part of the team environment, even though he's not playing. Now, we know that Accuracy and Attach go way back. They have been a duo before, and, you know, this is their brand new roster. Of course, Accuracy has experience with pretty much all of these guys, with the exception maybe of Kremp, who we know has the talent, whether he has the consistency, and the in-game decision-making, that's another question. But Mack is back in the league is a cool thing to see. Of course, people were like, wow, Mack's got the rock in the beard. Obviously, he changed his appearance somewhat to what he was like when he was on that Seattle Surge team a couple of years ago with Accuracy and with Sib, of course. So the reason why they signed Mack, pretty sure, is because they were going to get Nero. They decided against that because they wanted, you know, Mack, maybe Accuracy and Sib were confident that Mack was the guy to get onto the roster. So the chemistry here, the vibes are going to be great. I think that's a real positive about this team. Even though on paper, I'm not sure how competitive they're going to be with the top teams, I rate Accuracy as a phenomenal coach, and I love what they're doing. On the AR side, it's like Sib and Attach, Going to be a great AR duo on paper. Incredibly handsome AR duo as well. How much damage can this team realistically do next season? Because competing with the top 3 is going to be a serious challenge. FaZe are FaZe, OpTic are OpTic, Los Angeles Thieves are on paper equally as absurd as those 2 teams that I just mentioned. The battle is to make Sunday, and if you make it to Sunday, then who knows what's possible on a championship Sunday. We know that, you know, FaZe historically on Sundays don't always deliver, so, you know, and who knows how these other teams are going to operate, right? But I think the plan is for Cloud9, for Toronto, for Gentlemates, for those other teams vying it out to be the 4th best team in the world. I think, you know, obviously they want to be the best team in the world, but I think for the immediate term, if these guys can make more Sundays than they don't make Sundays, that will be a very impressive season. And I think that it's certainly possible, and as I said yesterday, if this team didn't have accuracy as the coach, I would not be that confident this SMG duo lasts the test of time, and I'm still not necessarily, but I do have more confidence in this team given accuracies there, and I think compared to some of the other teams, like the vibes and the chemistry, and maybe even the work ethic to some extent on this roster is going to be better than some of the other ones, which might make up for some of the questions I have from an SMG perspective as to whether these guys are going to be as good as, let's say, you know, CleanX JoeDeceives on Toronto or something along those lines. But in Twitter, your thoughts as ever. This is pretty cool as well. Of course, the rest of his teammates now attach are younger gentlemen, right? Mack's still pretty young. Obviously, Sib is as well. Kremp's only just coming into the league. Attaches one of the old men of the league now, which is kind of remarkable to think about given how long he's been around, and he still looks pretty young, obviously. But here are all the boys at his apartment. Sib's here, Attach, obviously Kremp, and then Mack comes in the background too. So it's good to see the boys all getting along well. I think from like a chemistry perspective, there are not many teams that will be able to replicate what Cloud9 are going to have. Attach had actually mentioned in a video that he made on the topic here that he didn't want to go to an uncompetitive team. And it makes perfect sense. A guy like Clay, for example, has been going around the last couple of years, Vegas, Ravens, right? And it's difficult to grind all day and maintain the momentum and the kind of, let's say, passion for it when you're going to events and getting top 8, top 12, not making it to the World Championship. So Attach decided that this year, if he couldn't get an uncompetitive team, he was very much considering just calling it a day and not coming back anymore. But of all the options, Attach has got arguably the best situation possible in many respects. Is there any better AR duo that was available than Sib? I don't think so. And I also do wonder to some degree how exactly things came together behind the scenes. Was Accuracy always going to be head coach of Cloud9 and therefore he said, hey, you know, bring in an Attach as the man? Or did Cloud9 decide, okay, Sib has the keys, who do you want? And Sib said, all right, I want Lamar as my coach. And then they together agreed, we want Attach as your AR duo. And then they thought, we'll get Mack in from the SMG perspective. So I wonder how it's all worked out. At the end of the day, it's a friendship team, right? I mean, we talk about the friendship league. There is maybe the Gentlemates roster, if that's Kismet and Skyz and those guys like Priestahh, of course, and, you know, them coming back with Lynz, then sure, that's a friendship team. The Saudi team is a friendship team, whatever, right? And sometimes friendship teams are good teams. And, like, obviously you need to be friends on some level to have success consistently at the very least. FaZe are friendly with each other, OpTic are friendly with each other, right? You know what I'm saying? But the Cloud9 team is very much so, you know, these guys have been boys for years. So, like, whether that's good or bad, I think is a question for you guys to give your thoughts in the comment section below. But let's talk Black Ops 6. It dropped into the game yesterday. It's already been noted. Hardpoint, Search and Destroy control is in the game. I was watching a bit of the Hardpoint kind of chals they're playing this morning, and the pros are playing like, hang on a second, how do I see how many seconds are left on this hill? It didn't seem to really be anywhere, at least nowhere particularly visible. So, look, the game modes are in the game. They need a bit of work, I think. The Codcaster also needs a bit of work as well. But it does seem like Control is going to be the third mode. This shouldn't be a massive surprise. But I know people have said CTF, something else, Uplink, I don't know, coming back in. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, at least for this season, though. Scump was straight on the bandwagon, rocking it through for the Prestige Master, and doing some absolute damage, of course. Scump in pure flow state as ever. Was it FormaL who called Scump not that long ago the greatest pub player ever? And certainly his numbers were kind of imply exactly that. So Scump was doing some serious damage with the OpTic race to Prestige, which of course is still going to be ongoing for the next several days. OpTic got through Prestige 1. They're probably not far off, getting even further than that. So yeah, Scump was absolutely cooking as ever. Here we are on Babylon, a map that can be pretty fun, but it's not especially competitive. And I think that was one of the key takeaways, and there's probably more key takeaways that you guys had than that on exactly what these maps are going to be looking like for next year's gameplay. Because many of these maps, I'm not going to lie, are a little bit concerning. Some of the maps that I looked at before the game released and said, okay, this one might be okay, this one might be okay, having seen them played for competitive, I'm like, dearie me, we might need Treyarch to come through and just slap raid and stand up on this game again to save it. And I think that's kind of always the biggest concern for me in COD titles, and always the biggest point of importance is, what are the maps like? It's literally the #1 thing, and it's the thing that Treyarch have, you know, excelled at on some level compared to their other developers during the years. But for whatever reason, this year the maps are either just tiny or they're just bad. Like, there's only a couple of maps I actually think are any good. Like, genuinely, Sledgehammer with their DLC maps last year, 6-star Vista Rio, did a better job for sure than Treyarch did with like any of these launch maps, which is a point of concern. I think some of them are playable, and I think that over time it'll get better. They will add other maps into the game. But right now, it isn't the best. These were Scump's numbers, by the way, after his stint that he did. Obviously, it's eliminations to deaths now rather than kills to death, so I imagine that he was cranking up the SBMM for the boys that followed him. But I wanted to share a couple of clips here from the full release, especially from, well, Shotzzy's POV or from someone else's POV playing against him, right? So, you know, Karma was cooking as well, but some of the stuff that Shotzzy was up to tonight and this morning was pretty funny. This was absurd, what Shotzzy does here to Karma. Karma was sitting back and looking at this thinking, how did I just die like that? And he almost like lost aim assist as well. There's just nothing you could do when a guy as talented as Shotzzy is pulling off stuff like this. I don't even really know how he did that. But yeah, poor Karma on that one. And then in a hardpoint trial that I was watching this morning, he then runs up behind FormaL, takes him a hostage, and gets a couple of kills as a result.
You can't cancel reload anymore in this game, apparently.
I stunned him on the right.
Walk out of you.
Dead. It's not AG. AG's top mid.
He's like connector.
He's in the mid connector. Other side, left side.
Running across this.
At the steps, FormaL.
Ja, on the steps, on the heady.
One's our lobby and one's left side.
Lobby dead.
Nice. 3. Matt. You could be in the left
I'd be
connector.
pinching us, bro. Holding.
Oh, I just naded. I stunned you.
Yeah. On. Another one here.
Pinching dead.
Another one in the
back left.
fucking middle.
I don't know if it flipped.
Get on the left. Really weak. Shots. The fuck? He cares that?
You are disgusting. Are you playing like...
Okay, you're a freak, dude. How did you even know you can go up there? Okay, you're a freak.
Wow, I just stopped shooting. Wow, that's like a weird ass bullet transfer.
Dude, what the fuck?
What happened?
He just slid like 1,000 miles an hour sideways.
So I know there were some questions as to whether this kind of taking a player hostage kind of model, or whether that would be enabled or disabled in competitive. At the end of the day, if you come up behind someone, you can take them hostage for a couple of seconds and obviously get a couple of kills maybe as a result of it. Then why not like allow that to be allowed in competitive play? I thought it was pretty funny. So yeah, I like how Karma as well was like, oh, missing FormaL, looking for FormaL, and then it turns out that yeah, FormaL was already about to go down to Shotzzy because he was right there. Now, of course, if they kill Shotzzy while he's doing that, then FormaL, I guess, gets released, right? But the bodyguard type strategy is very funny, and I thought it was interesting that Shotzzy was able to execute all of this stuff absolutely on day one. So, yeah, definitely seems like Shotzzy's going to be a serious menace this year. I think the map that they were playing there with FormaL was Vault, and Vault is one of these maps where you look at the layout and you say, okay, this could be all right for competitive. It plays, it's maybe not terrible, but it's not brilliant, I think, by any stretch of the imagination. And, you know, I'm sure the pros will be working today and tonight to try and figure out, okay, what is the competitive meta going to be for this game? Because right now, it's somewhat unclear. But very much interested in your thoughts as ever in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.